Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now today's video is going to be an episode of As Seen on Instagram. Do you remember those ads for products that were as seen on TV? Well, this is a little bit of the opposite. Today we're going to take a look at a product that I've been seeing more and more advertisements on Instagram. And the product we're going to take a look at today is the Basecamp knife set from the company Dfackto. And so before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Dfackto who did provide this product for review. Now in today's video, what we're going to do is a first look, unboxing, and first impressions of these knives. If you have not seen anything about Dfackto, basically what I've come to understand is they're making really cool looking kitchen knives that have a tactical edge and a tactical flair. So everything from carbon steel to nice G10 handles, polymer molded sheaths, and overall just a good tactical style. Now to me that's pretty cool because if you are anything like me, I personally really enjoy using my knives and even my tactical style knives for cooking tasks. So here, having a set that's specifically made for cooking and having that tactical flair, I think this is going to be pretty cool. And then a follow-up video, we will do actual field testing, utilize these in true cooking applications. I'm hoping that this will become part of a small mini series where I do come up with a number of different recipes to share with all of you. We'll do some nice outdoor cooking and we'll put these Dfackto knives to the test. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to share with you and a whole bunch to talk about. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. And so here, as I mentioned, we have the Dfackto Basecamp set. There are a number of different sets. They also sell individual knives. So depending on what you see here, if you like this particular set, you can get this complete set, and there are plenty of other options out there. So different price ranges, different sizes of sets, this being one of their larger sets. So we're going to get a good comprehensive look at the overall different shapes and sizes and the overall sort of, materials and choices and the types of things that you may be interested in for your particular cooking needs. And so with that said, we're going to take this over to the tabletop and we're going to open up this Basecamp set. And so here, very straightforward with the packaging. Just comes in a cardboard box, and I'm not sure, it looks like it says it's a black set, but to my knowledge they basically only have sets of these in black. So let's take a look here. Alright, and so now as we get into a little bit more detail, you'll see, as I mentioned, this is the Basecamp knife set. Now this does come with sheaths. We should also see that this comes in an overall rugged travel case, as it mentions here. So they are calling this their Interceptor series. So I'm not sure at this point if they're going to have additional series in the future, but this one here in particular called the Interceptor series. Now as you can see inside, we will see a 10-inch butcher knife, 8-inch chef knife, 7.5-inch fillet knife, 6.5-inch antuco, a 6-inch semi-flexible boning knife, a 6-inch serrated utility knife, 3.5-inch paring knife, an 8-inch honing steel, and then again that ruggedized travel case. So overall, very cool. Now what I can tell you is, for me personally, I will definitely be utilizing that butcher knife, the chef knife, the antuco, probably realistically the 6-inch serrated, and that 3.5-inch paring knife for all kinds of dishes. Now I do find that for me, and you'll see when I get into cooking, I do use my knives quite a bit, and like I said, my wilderness survival blades and my tactical knives. So these fitting right in those different size classifications. Looking around the box here, Dfackto.com. You will notice too that if you look at their website, so you'll see they have their website, they have their different social media, so everything is under the name Dfackto, and here you'll see rugged, dependable knives. So pretty cool. I am very interested to see how these look. So with that said, and popping open the box here, you will see coming in the ruggedized case. And very simple here, as we remove this, you will see this says, before your first use, hand wash knives thoroughly in hot water using a mild dishwashing soap, rinse in clean hot water, and immediately dry. These are high carbon steel knives, so you do need to be a little bit careful about rust. There's also information about sharpening, general cleaning. On the back, warnings and safeguards, their release and assumption of risk, as these are sharp knives and tools, and here their limited lifetime warranty. So Dfackto knives are tools and are produced from the highest quality materials by expert craftsmen, and with reasonable care will serve you faithfully for a lifetime. Your Dfackto cutlery is warranted to be free of manufacturing defects. This warranty excludes damage caused by accident, misuse, or abuse, and does not apply to sharpness, scratches, stains, discoloration, or other damage which does not impair the functionality of the product. That, to me, is more than reasonable. If you're somebody who's a knife user and a knife fan, I think that sounds perfectly reasonable to me. But first things first, and taking a look at the case here, well, that's pretty cool. You end up with a morale patch field right on the front. And so I'm just going to place a few of my favorite morale patches on here. And there is a good amount of space. So depending on what you like and how you like to lay this out, there is a good amount of space. So pretty nice. Now, one thing is, I think it would be very cool if it came with an actual Dfackto morale patch. I know that, you know, if I become a believer of this brand, I will definitely throw a patch on and sort of help them to promote in different ways. So, well, let's take a look here. And opening this up, nicely displayed, you will notice that it is kind of a little bit of a yin and a yang here. So, sort of displayed in multiple directions. But here, the full Basecamp set. And you'll see all of these in a pouch and also strapped into place for a little bit of security. So that's nice. The first knife we're going to take out here, and being careful, this is your 10-inch butcher knife. So again, G10 handles, very cool. Bolted into place with star bits. You'll see here, you end up with that polymer sheath. And very lightweight. You will notice these are quite thin. Again, these are cooking knives, so they're not going to be thick. They are going to be quite thin. And here you'll see that butcher knife. So very cool. Now, again, this is quite lightweight, so you're going to not be doing any chopping with this or anything like that. Overall, a nice thin stock. Should be very slicey. And let's see. Feels reasonably sharp, I'm gonna say. Not too bad. Has a nice coating on there. This is pretty cool. Now, my initial impressions is this handle is a little bit thin, just a touch, but it's going to have to average out to the average user. So again, keep in mind, this isn't like a wilderness survival blade. You're not looking for that like major purchase. You want something that's going to be comfortable for cooking use, and it's going to have an overall, I would say, durability. So the G10 is going to be nice. It's going to be durable. It's going to be water resistant and even blood resistant. It's going to be resistant to stains and, you know, overall just anything that could possibly stick to it. So G10, in my opinion, is a very good material for this, and overall is pretty reasonable. I do see a little bit of a fitment issue. Just my initial impression is these tolerances could be tighter, but again, a very reasonably priced set. So not the highest quality craftsmanship, but at the same time, for the money that you're paying, I'd say that's definitely reasonable. You'll notice the handles do have contouring, so the ability to index, and it's a good positive lockup. You end up with jimping on both the top and the back, which is some functionality, but is also some style. You have to admit that for something that's tactical, you kind of want to have that tactical look, so adding some jimping there, definitely adding to the tactical look and feel. Taking a look here at the polymer sheath, very straightforward. Basically, all you really need this for is to keep the blade protected, keep your hands protected, not allow this to cut anything that you don't want to. So now, taking the butcher knife and simply sliding it into place. Very reasonable, covers the entire blade very well. So that to me is going to work out nicely. You'll see that you have the ability to easily clean out the inside of the sheath if it gets dirty or, you know, has gunk or grime or any food matter. So the fact that that has open slots, that does two things. One, gives you the ease of cleaning, and also gives the knife the ability to breathe. So once you wash it off and you put it in the sheath, you definitely want it to dry out because it is carbon steel. So that's going to work out mighty nice. The next knife here, we have the 8-inch chef knife. So this is pretty much, I would say, like your average size chef knife. This already, I can tell you, feels wonderful in the hand. I do greatly like the way this feels. Has a great balance and weight to it. Just the slightest bit forward weighted, but again, quite light. The stock on these is so thin that you are going to get a very lightweight chef knife. This is going to be something that's super easy to work with for a long period of time. It is nicely balanced, but it is light. This does not have a ton of weight to it. So again, checking the sharpness real quick. This one seems to be a little sharper than the chef knife in my opinion. Feels like it's going to be pretty good. Shaving test here. Oh yeah, check that out. Definitely. And I'm a hairy dude, so shouldn't have any problem shaving there. So coming out of the box, pretty sharp and doing a nice job. So here, the 8-inch chef knife. So next in line here, we have the 7.5-inch fillet knife. As you can see there, just got to be careful as you remove this. So here, the fillet knife, same exact handles from what I can tell on each one of the knives. Same hardware, same construction. This fillet knife should be fairly flexible, so does seem to have overall some reasonable flex there, which is what you want in a fillet knife. It'll be interesting to see how this works overall in the sort of kitchen scenario. I'll be curious, but again, very lightweight and nicely done. In my opinion, probably the most versatile knife that you have in the set. Here you can see this is the 6.5-inch Antuco, which for me, this is what I would typically go to for a lot of my prep work. So anything from potentially meat and vegetables and general food prep tasks, this should do a nice job. Now, again, we will measure the stock in a little bit to get the overall thickness here, but again, same exact construction and very, very nice. So quite interesting. I do like myself a good Antuco, and to me the 6.5-inch, and oftentimes these do come in a number of different sizes, but to me the 6.5-inch, that's a nice average size. So nice size compared to the rest of the set, and here you have your Antuco. So here they have what they're calling the 6-inch semi-flex boning knife. So as we take a look at this and removing the sheath, again here, the 6-inch semi-flex boning knife. And this seems to be a little more rigid. I wonder if I got these backwards. So comparing here, this is the 7.5-inch fillet knife, and then the 6-inch semi-flex boning knife, which the steel seems thinner on the fillet knife, which I would expect. And when they say semi-flex, yeah, it is. It definitely has some flex to it. Just trying to be careful here and not to damage my case. But yeah, so it is a semi-flexible knife. So this again being a 6-inch blade. So very interesting and fairly similar overall, as you can see, to the fillet knife. So pretty similar in profile, a little bit different. Now next in line, this is the 6-inch serrated utility knife. So as you can see, nice serrations, good and sharp. So this is going to be nice for cutting bread or rolls or different things like that. Having a good serrated blade in your set is definitely useful, and a nice size. Of all the knives, I actually do like this one, potentially the best so far. And you will see that the handle on this particular knife is a little bit smaller. So now stepping into a smaller handle, very light and nimble, and this feels really good in the hands. I do like this serrated knife quite a bit. And the last knife in the set, here is your 3.5-inch paring knife. So taking a look here, this is the smaller handle and a nice small paring knife. So from everything from like coring an apple or just smaller tasks, even preparing smaller vegetables, doing some of the basic tasks, a paring knife definitely going to be useful. For me personally, I will even peel my potatoes using a knife. Paring knife is going to do a nice job for that. So good controlled work, nice and nimble. The blade is reasonably short, so you're not going to have too much extra blade. And this fits nicely in the hand. So for some good controlled work, and that fits and indexes quite well. Now last but not least in this set, this here is your 8-inch honing steel. Now good weight to this. The first thing I can tell you, is that needs to be threaded in all the way. There you go. So this can thread out. Actually, it looks like you can unbolt it, and I think that will actually thread out of there. So just keeping that nice and tight. So this is your honing steel. That's going to allow you to keep these knives good and sharp, and I would suggest that you hone your blades on a regular basis. I mean, don't go too far and let them get completely dull and rounded out on you, rolled over on the edges. Keep up with them with a nice honing steel. So nice having this as part of the set. And so one thing I was curious about was the overall construction, and looking at the knife with the scales removed, here you'll see holes for the 3 bolts. Now one thing I did notice was a little bit of an alignment issue with the scales. It is possible that adjustments could be made, so I am going to try to see that. So when we bolt this back together, I am going to see how close the tolerances are. I am kind of curious. But as you can see, this coming reasonably machined, very flat and very well done. Now there was oil coating the entire blade straight from the factory, and a nice coating of oil underneath the scales. That's going to be important as these are carbon steel blades, so just having some oil to protect them, working very, very well. Checking the overall thickness of the steel, here I get about 2.5 millimeters, which is roughly 1/10 of an inch. And taking a look at the edge geometry, it's hard to say, but I am getting a reading of potentially what seems to be about 14 degrees. So if that's the case, for a kitchen knife, obviously very, very slicey. That's the purpose. And so now, fitting the handles back onto the tang, these are T10 star bits. And looking here at the alignment of the jimping, not too bad. You can adjust it a little bit. It's not perfect, but fairly reasonable. And the fact of the matter is these are a production model, which will always have a little bit of a fitment issue. So not too bad overall. I would say it is acceptable tolerances. I do think in the future they could try to tighten up on that just a little bit, but it is definitely serviceable. And I gotta say, I do like this set overall. And so at this point, taking a look at the entire set, that is the Basecamp setup. Now, this 5CR 15 MOV steel, again being a high carbon steel, Rockwell heat treated to around 57. It will be interesting to see the overall edge retention and also the corrosion resistance. So again, being a carbon steel, we're just gonna have to keep an eye on it and keep them treated. But overall, I think it's gonna be an interesting set. I like the overall dynamic of all the blades. I like the overall sort of variety that you get from the set. I think there is some good versatility in this kit, and I am very much looking forward to getting down to some cooking. And so at this point, I'd say I have a pretty well-defined initial impression of these Dfackto knives. Bottom line is, I think these are really cool. I think they're going to be an enjoyable set, and I do look forward to getting some good quality field use. My initial impression, I think in the future, Dfackto should pay a little bit more attention to some of the tolerances, but other than that, I would say they are definitely on the right track. And for an initial step into the market, that's definitely a cool product. I mean, I like the overall series. I like the fact that there's multiple knives. I like the overall sort of depth that you get with the blades. I like the steel choice. I think it's going to be good quality and serviceable, and it keeps these at a reasonable price point. So generally speaking, I would say they're definitely on the right track. Field use is going to overall dictate, but my initial impression, pretty good, definitely cool. Little bit of fitment issues, but it's a great place to start. I hope you guys enjoyed that. A little bit of a spin on the norm, taking a look at some of the products that you see coming from those Instagram ads. Now, these companies spend huge amount of effort and money getting those ads out there, getting them before people, and in this case, we're gonna start to take a look at these products. So, all in all, Dfackto, nice job and very, very cool. So, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. Hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.